So next I want to invite up Paula Kirman. Paula Kirman was voted Edmonton's favorite activist in the recent View Weekly Best of Edmonton issue. Paula is one of the organizers of March on Edmonton, a photographer, writer, and videographer, a musician, and a strong voice for human rights and justice in our city.
Shalom, and thank you for inviting me to speak this afternoon and to join my voice with all of us here who proclaim that hate is not welcome in Edmonton. I'm with the Edmonton Coalition Against War and Racism. I'm with the Edmonton Interfaith Center for Education and Action, and I am also a Jewish woman. And as a Jewish woman, the growing resurgence of ultra-right-wing hate groups concerns me greatly. My own community has been affected recently with swastikas being spray painted on buildings in several Southwest neighborhoods. It stands to reason that the same kinds of people who would express hate towards immigrants, Muslims, and people of color are the same kinds of people who would be anti-Jewish. Also, as a Jew, I feel I need to stand up against hatred because of my roots and my faith. Many Jewish people of my generation are the descendants of immigrants and refugees. I am also vigilant against Islamophobia, not only because hatred is just plain wrong, but also because of the shared Abrahamic roots of our faiths. In fact, my commitment to social justice and human rights stems largely from my Jewish background. In Judaism, there is a value called tikkun olam, which translates to healing or repairing the world. We all have that potential within us, regardless of our background, to make the world a better place. It doesn't have to be through grand gestures or high-profile acts. Every day, we all have opportunities to make the world around us safer and to fill it with more compassion, hope, and love. At various times in my life, I have had experiences here in Edmonton with anti-Semitism. I'm also fighting the wind as well here. It's often been a subtle undercurrent, sometimes taking the form of jokes or comments perpetuating various stereotypes like being cheap or being part of some kind of power conspiracy. Anti-Semitism has sometimes crossed over into sentiments that are misogynist, like body shaming, or calling a Jewish woman a nag, or the ubiquitous Jewish mother jokes. I've been told at times I don't look Jewish, as though that is a compliment. It isn't. Some anti-Semitism I have faced or witnessed also crosses a line into being ableist, like being referred to as neurotic or controlling, attributing to one's culture symptoms of mental illness, which may or may not actually be real, since after all, you don't always know what someone might be struggling with. I recall when I was accosted by a man on an isolated street in the inner city. He had seen my Star of David around my neck and thought it was appropriate to stop me, a complete stranger, and ask if I was Jewish. I said yes, keeping a wide physical distance from this person, and he then proceeded to interrogate me, asking me where I was from and not accepting Edmonton as the answer. He finally backed off when I gave him some general response about my distant Eastern European heritage. After that experience, I found myself feeling defensive when someone asks about my choice of jewelry. I enjoy meeting new people and talking about myself and learning about them, but being othered time and time again can sometimes make a person overly sensitive to inquiries about their background, which is unfortunate because having conversations about ourselves can lead to greater understanding. Planting the seeds against racism and hate need to start early. We all know that kid from school who was always being picked on, pushed around, made fun of, teased, beaten up, and pushed around some more. I know, because I was that kid. I believe that a lot of my values towards kindness, love, and being against racism and hate also come from the fact that I was badly bullied as a child and teenager, and I don't want to see that happen to anyone. When we see bullying, when we see people being made fun of because they are somehow different, when we see hatred in our midst, we have an obligation to stand up, intervene, and say that that is wrong. In closing, I also wanted to emphasize that I am a board member with the Edmonton Interfaith Center for Education and Action, and what we do is to seek to achieve peace and harmony and an end to racism in the world through teaching about different faiths, not from a religious perspective, but an educational one. And I encourage you to look us up and see what we have to offer, and maybe become a member and get involved as well. Thank you very much.